Alright, welcome to the Live World of Darkness. This is a scene for the Changeling venue. Alright, we're beginning our scene at the Parliament of Dreams. No, you know what? It's going on in Taranar, but it's actually happening, it's an open court session, not Parliament of Dreams. Totally different. This is going on in what was King David's throne room. Technically still his, because he's technically still missing. You will know it as, most of you have been here before, so you go in, your weapons are peace knotted, level 1 Sovereign is blanket cast. You will see that the big throne for King David is unoccupied. Phaelith is not sitting where she normally would, although she is here today. You will see that the giant balefire is there and roaring to life, and you will see that Queen Mab has brought her own seat to sit on, although she has not come yet. It has just been wheeled out. And what's going to happen is people can come in, talk a little bit about what's been going on, and socialize. We're going to call court to session. We're going to have some wrap-up, some news for the kingdom. We're going to have a period where people can introduce themselves or bring things up to the Queen, and then it's going to be the moment that everybody is waiting for. Queen Mab is going to announce who will be the regent for the Kingdom of Apples, because she's actually quite busy. She's having to administrate Concordia as well, and she really can't see to her personal kingdom how she wants. So, everybody, let's begin the scene.
Nix is going in, getting his dagger piece knotted, showing he's not wearing his grey vines. Then heading on in and grabbing that glass of very, very sour, probably turned to vinegar a long time ago wine.
I would imagine this place does cater to Slua, so yeah, you'll be able to find what you're looking for.
Valerius comes in with his wife, holding her hand.
He's wearing a shirt though, right?
Of course, it's court.
I'm just gonna say Eve also has walking with her this other new selkie.
Oh, okay. And
Well, both of them, all four together.
Okay, there's going to be a lot of stairs going you guys' way, because it took them about a year to accept the fact that you might not be a mermaid, but now to see that, like, you're multiplying and shit, at least the she are going to be a little bit more interested in this bright new shiny thing that's coming through. Appearance 3, right? Okay, so you're baseline acceptable to the she.
Fair enough. He is not really saying much and just kind of waiting for this to be over.
Yeah, Eve's actually holding his hand as well. Obviously, he said he was, but she's kind of holding it, just kind of looking around like she's actually a little nervous. She really wants to know the answer to this question. And yeah, she actually doesn't even have a weapon on her at the moment.
He has his weapon piece knotted. And take that for what you will, Sarah.
Tanner doesn't have any apparent weapons.
She'll kind of just look at Tanner, just be like, just kind of follow us for now.
Doesn't say a word, just nods.
Don't worry, they're not going to kill you. They might be really curious, but they're not going to kill you.
For Tanner, this is probably a very strange sight. This is the world of dreams, so it's a little bit like the dance sequence from Labyrinth, like a lot of different Disney movies. Also just very, very strange and surreal and messing with your mind. It's you probably just put on your selkie skin recently, correct?
He would be relatively new to it, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the selkie skin feels like home. At the same point, it's a whole world that you're not familiar with. So you've got a lot of conflicting emotions, and now you've got a lot of people that are staring at you.
As long as it's not the opening scene from the first Blade movie, I should be fine.
I don't think we need to worry about it raining blood quite yet.
Depends what he does, really.
Actually, we need motion air here before that's going to happen.
Oh.
What? He's welcome?
No, Mo needs to come back.
To give a quick idea, though, Tanner is not hugely tall, but he is about 5'10". He is really well built, and has ice blue eyes.
Okay. And he's definitely more attractive than that other mermaid thing. So
That's right. Way
Yeah.
more attractive.
So the sheer like, oh, they're improving. This is good.
And he seems to be watching everybody else more of defensive way over Eve than actual curiosity.
Okay. Well, for the two of you, expect something to be posted on the gossip page later.
Eh.
Yeah.
I don't care.
World of Darkness and gossip? No.
How is everybody else coming in? By the way, there would be like wine flowing pretty freely at the beginning of this.
Kagoma arrives.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Trenton arrives, and he has 14 of the Slua with him.
Holy crap.
Makes you guys have
The pungent smell of ancient stuff permeates the air. It's not mildewy, but man, it is musty.
Relish in it like it.
You're Slua, you know the proper manners to get in. You actually throw in a couple extra manners just for good measure. And there's no way that she could actually show that they're displeased with you. In fact, some of them don't see any problem with a mass amount of commoners suddenly coming in. I mean, that's never meant anything bad for them, right? So anyways, you all filter in en masse. Oh, wait a minute. You did go to the Parliament of Dreams. So I will say that some she are whispering that they have seen you before, Tribetan. Pleading for a dreamer.
Okay.
Anybody else want to narrate how they get in here?
Yeah, Kagoma enters next. He has like a red finery on. He has that white belt gifted to him by Queen Mab, and also like a red cape with a silver Fiona signet. Keep it together along with that Baron chain he was gifted with. He enters and he quickly sees maybe where Eve and Val are, and just sits in that general area to lend his support in the proceedings.
Before you can get over there, several Fiona will congratulate you. Credit to their house. They're very happy. You're tutoring another she or something, was it? Congrats. I heard the queen herself, knighted you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's definitely very respectful, and he's very humble in this moment, unlike his typical, more arrogant self.
Okay, so you make your way towards the selkies.
Yes.
I'm so happy I can say plural.
Hey, Kagoma. She's gonna go over there and give him a quick hug.
It's like, wow.
What?
You're glowing.
It's that fluorescent light that Val installed.
In the courtroom, really?
Oh, come on! We're in a dream world here. Of course he could do it.
Well, you're making pregnancy look good. So he gives her a hug.
Kagoma, this is Tanner. Tanner, Kagoma. Kagoma's an old friend.
Tanner,
Pleasure to meet you, Tanner.
It's like bow.
Kagoma will bow as well. Very formal. That will probably do you well here. Kind of looks over Tanner.
It doesn't actually say anything, just the offer of the bow.
Okay. Kind of looks him over. Same traits, so dripping. Yep, okay.
He figured by now you'd be able to figure out the obvious.
Right. Well, he was just making sure. He was just like,
nope, this is a skill puka. I am trying to trick you.
He goes and he finds a seat near the group.
He's actually going to come over and greet everybody.
Actually, yeah. Let me clarify. at open courts. You don't get to sit
Oh
or
yeah,
anything.
that's
It's a
right.
bunch of standing.
Yeah, that's right. I remember now. I'm sorry.
Strictly because every tapestry and movie I've ever seen, because I didn't actually do any real research, shows all these people always standing when court happens.
Right. It's true. That's true. All right.
Next is gonna slink over and greet everybody. Hey, how you doing?
Next, how goes?
Shortly
Everyone.
after everyone else has entered, Dame Valencia and Sir Richard are going to come together, arms locked, and each wearing matching half cloaks down over one shoulder, crimson on one side and copper on the other. They'll just walk in and mingle.
Just too fucking adorable. Flower hilarious. Seriously. He makes this big fuss about how he needs to find this thing, and dear,
Val, do you think we should start matching too?
I don't know. I kind of like being different.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I just figured I'd ask because I didn't know if it was like a thing.
No, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They look and love.
Uh,
That's the only thing I can see.
All right, cool. We'll just stick with thing ourselves then.
With that question, Tanner actually has to fight back a chuckle.
Shout out
And
to
he
the
does it-
players
he
for
does
playing
it.
up the stereotypes, because honestly, when I think about the relationships, of course the Fiona is with the oddball Selkie, and the Gwydion went with the Gwydion. So cool. I know it's natural to want to buck all of World of Darkness's stereotypes, but yeah.
Maybe I'll choose it. Maybe I'll choose a demon next time, Veronica.
Oh.
No, they're not that good in bed.
Oh.
Eve might actually be fast
Speaking
enough
of
to catch him going to chuckle, but he actually manages to keep it under.
You haven't lived until you hooked up with a red cap.
Oh God, Rick is
Nice.
dead. Live with
They'll eat anything.
Is it you haven't lived until you've hooked up with a red cap, or you haven't lived and hooked up with a red cap?
You haven't lived until you hooked up with a red cap and
Yes.
escaped with your life.
Oh God, why is there so much blood?
No, it was painful, but it was well worth it.
Oh, okay. If everybody's all right, I'm gonna start court.
Actually, Xander will enter right about now,
Okay,
and
good.
he will be wearing his house colors.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Someone's being provocative.
Well, yeah, because House Liam, even if the Lord presides over that freehold, they usually don't even fly the House Liam flag. So, you guys are definitely catching a lot of attention today. They're checking him out, and the whispers, "Yo, yeah, he's the one that chrysalis not too long ago, and oh, I was looking after him. Is that? Oh, it's the Fionas. Okay, all right. That makes sense then, that he would want to show the livery there and so forth. And, oh, poor thing. He has to be born to Liam. Life's not fair.
Let's just go in there. So, how's it feel to be the poor cousin in a row?
Okay. I know there's a trumpet sound effect here, but for now we're just gonna go with that. Everybody looks to see Her Majesty, Queen Mab, walking down the aisle. Looking at you all, I'm going to say that unfortunately this is the best GIF I could find for what I wanted. Imagine her a little bit older. A lot older. She's supposed to be in her 60s, even though if she had stayed the entire time on the Grey World, she'd be in her 80s. This is Queen Map. She has been the ruler of the Kingdom of Apples, for anybody that doesn't know, since the She came back. Since the 60s. She was one of the first that wisely saw that King David still just David Awdry back then, could unite everybody in Concordia, and she rallied to him, ceded some of her lands to him to build Tarnar, because this used to belong to her family, and these dreamlands opened to her when she came back. And she's been having a tough time as of late because she lost her regent, Duke Gile, who was administering the kingdom, and has been looking for a replacement. So she looks a little bit older than this. She also looks a little bit happier because she is a Fiona, and she's not just misery and doom and gloom all the time. She has an astute political mind, but she also knows how to enjoy herself. So she makes her way down, looking at everybody. Her eyes briefly dance over the new selkie. They briefly dance over Sir Richard. But that's all that anybody gets before she takes her seat. Court is now called. Says you will recognize him as the jester that looks remarkably like Woody Allen from the Parliament of Dreams the other day. Oh, I can put on my miserable voice. And court is now called. We will begin with the address to the kingdom. And Queen Mab tilts her head to everybody. Says, "My lords and ladies, I am pleased to see so many people here. I am pleased to see people throughout the kingdom, commoners and nobles alike, and chimera spirits that before only hid in the shadows. Perhaps it is not what this court originally proclaimed, but we are happy nonetheless." Deliberately not elaborating on that last sentence, she moves on to her next point. "I would like to inform everybody that there is a giant roaming about. Please be careful and have whatever chimerical charms, treasures, or dreamcraft you have at your disposal ready. We have dispatched guards to look out both for the safety of the giant and your freeholds, but for right now, we cannot make any promises. That's the most we can do at this point. I am also pleased to announce that the reports of Mur attacks seem to have dwindled. I ask that everybody be patient. We have quite a few new neighbors into this kingdom. At this point, I would ask, does anybody have any new business to announce to the court or any introductions to make?"
Valerius will look to Eve. You want me to go with you? Or you want all three of us to go?
He's not part of this kingdom. Does he really need to go forward?
She should know that he's here.
There are lots of selkies here.
Your call.
A troll from the back of the room stands up. You might see, if you don't mind, have a letter from Sir Sam Phoenix.
Oh, yes. Yes, all right. Please, come forth.
He comes for it. Give me a second to actually pull up the original letter again. You might see, Sir Phoenix does apologize for not being able to here in court, but he asked me to read this letter out to the court and to yourself. To our most gracious Queen Mab, I wish to apologize when I come to the court. I trust that this letter will find you in good health and good spirits. There are two issues I would like to have my thoughts heard on. First is regarding the issue surrounding the ex-marshal. It's my sincere belief that there is more to the issue than we may have access to. And at this time, if I might, kind of public address that I did a few nights ago. In brief, it is quite possible it does with evil intents to manipulate those who are suffering the most. During a time of crisis such as the Adhene War, I would beg of the court to keep this in consideration, that while we may not be able to excuse the actions taken by the individual in question, they have served as an inspiration to many, myself included, to one of who aspires to be a magistrate. Instead, I would provide that this possible alternative, that she would be allowed to retire in disgrace if the evidence in fact allows for the idea that she was manipulated due to some unforeseeable issues that is beyond her control. I would propose that she would go into a state of retirement without the ability to acquire any new rank of any kind. Show that the court can measure out the hand of justice without having to end in further tragedy. The second issue I wish to share my thoughts on is involving the good Sir Lorette. He's a stout fellow. I have stood with him on the battlefield. I assure you that he is of sound mind, and I would ask you, Your Majesty, to allow him and any others he wishes to take with him on his endeavor to ascertain the truth of his father, and if necessary, bring him back to face the charges. I would further request upon this task of completion to the Queen's satisfaction that his father's properties and any such symbols be duly given. I believe this would demonstrate he's a loyal member of the community for the Kino office, and that once and for all, the sins of the father should not be visited upon the son. I remain yours in fellowship and remain yours in loyalty, said Sam Phoenix for the Kingdom of Apples.
Queen Mab pauses for a second after having heard that, and looks to a little Boggin near her. Boggin whispers something in her ear. Ah, right. Well, she straightens herself. We cannot choose who our fathers and mothers might be, at least for many of us. We have no desire to punish relatives of members of that illicit circle. As for those that were a part of that circle, at this point, I am not able to speak as to their fate, and we'll leave that to the Justicar's magistrates and soothsayers of our kingdom. Now, if there is nothing else,
Eve will step forward, actually, and kind of look at Tanner to come from behind.
Tanner would
Baroness Eve.
Your Majesty. My friend here, Tanner, was hoping that I could introduce you to him. He's a guest at the moment. She'll gesture Tanner to come forward.
Ah, from the Selkie court. Yes, please, come forth.
Tanner would step forward and bow.
This is Tanner St. James.
She nods her head and she says, pleased to meet you, Tanner St. James. You are of the Selkie court presided over by Queen Morala, no?
Yes.
Well, I wish you a pleasant stay in our kingdom, she says ever so carefully, before smiling to show you that she really did mean it. She's happy to see more of your kind. Are you to be in service to Queen Morala? Are you an ambassador, like Our Lady Eve?
He actually looks back at Eve because he's not sure how he should answer that.
There is a good chance he will be in service to me, Your Majesty.
I see. And she has a massive smile on her face. Her eyes dance. But she will not say what's on her mind.
She's a Fiona. I know what's on her mind.
You will no doubt require a great deal of care in the next few weeks. All right, then. If there is no further business...
Treventon raises his hand.
Out of character, I
He retreats
swear, that's just how I
behind-
make people speak up.
And he just retreats quickly behind Eve.
I believe the slow should roll a paddle saying when they want to speak.
All right, what does the soft-spoken Slua have to say?
He kind of separates himself from the rest of the slew a little bit by a couple of steps, but still remains close. Recently, I have personally attempted to receive help from the Parliament of Dreams concerning my dreamer and my love, who is being held against her will by prodigals. My request has been denied, and the slew find this very troubling. The reason given was treaties need to be maintained with these outsiders. But to do so, it seems they are violating their own code. And this is troubling. I just wanted to make officially known that the slew are unhappy with this decision. And we hope that any future leadership might look upon these issues differently.
And Queen purses her lips. The great benefit, the great wisdom that King David had in establishing a Parliament of Dreams was so that the commoners could feel more free to have a voice and also their first opportunity. I am sorry that you are dissatisfied and would remind you that in these dark times we might find comfort and strength in our bonds of friendship. And at that, she dispatches the little boggin, who will run up to one of the other slua. Although I'm going to say that it's not sneakily or anything, and just going to hand them a little bit of goblin paper, and I will figure out what the hell is on that goblin paper later.
All right. There is one more
She's
thing.
not about to cause a riot right in the middle of open court.
One more thing. On behalf of the SLUA, we would be greatly interested in investigating the ex-marshal. I personally feel that though her actions are obviously very bad, she has been of good character, and I feel there might be something else going on, and I request permission to speak to the ex-marshal.
You were a war hero too, no?
I was involved. Hero might be a stretch.
And you also knew the accused, Pietro?
Pietro is like a brother to me.
You see my reservations about you speaking to this woman.
I understand your reservations, but it seems in this matter that there is a problem of the heart, and I feel for Satara. I do truly hope that love won't be abandoned a second time.
Oh, she bites her lip. Okay,
Jab,
okay.
jab, jab.
Fiona!
All right. She gives it in. She can't do it. Yeah, she can't do it.
Jab! Take that.
That's right.
That's right, you fucker, exploiting her house.
That's
Oh my God.
amazing.
I am going political.
Okay,
Renowned to Tribetan.
yeah. Yeah, all right. She's gonna make arrangements. He's gonna be able to go and see the marshal.
Sweet.
God damn you.
I am so taking notes.
All right. She looks around the court at this point, as if daring anybody to say anything. And at that, Fiona. You know what? I'm going to say that Valerius and a few of you others recognize Commander Robin from yesterday, and you will see somebody that looks quite a bit like him, who you're going to assume is his brother. And it is the brother that wants to catch Queen Mab's attention. Yes. Cirrus? Fiona? Certes, my lady. Certes, Fiona. Yes. What business do you have with the court? And he's going to say, I was instructed that I was to present my partner to the court with the understanding that she would be allowed safe passage for the time of a month and a day. And Queen Mab on her face, oh gosh, she remembers who Certes is now. Understood. Why don't you introduce her? At that, Certes comes forth with a figure that has an awful lot of robes on, an awful lot of different silks. Comes forth and he goes, this is my partner for a while. Her name is Three Fish. And at that, you see that the woman takes off her hood, and there's something so wrong with her face. Her eyes are massive and like anime eyes, but the pupils are wrong. They just take up all the eyes. There's not much of a nose, but there's very delicate lips. And there's just something, if any of you are familiar with Japanese kappa, something very similar about that. Sans bull on the head. And she looks at everybody with those strange pupils. And at that, you hear some of the she just talking and stuff, because automatically they're like, no, this is not an anime, this is not another she, this is this is definitely the adhene that we were hearing about at the Parliament and stuff. This is the concubine that he won in the contest. Oh my god, it's actually here. And then he kind of turns to Three Fish and says, you can put the hood back on. And she just kind of nods, like she can't reply to him back in English. But Queen Mab goes, no. Leave the hood off. And in fact, take the silks off if you feel more comfortable. Certes just looks at her and then kind of nods to Three Fish, and she lets her robes fall to the ground. Okay, definitely looking more like a kappa here, with some massive webbed hands and webbed feet, scales going up and down the legs, and you can see a lot of this body because all she's wearing is a loincloth and an awful lot of shell-based jewelry. She also has what looks like shackles that were cut off at her ankles. Anyways, at that, Queen Mab goes, thank you for introducing yourself. The woman says nothing, and at that, Certes goes, yes, thank you, Your Grace. And he bows deeply and moves back into the crowd. Okay, so anybody, they're all talking about this. The general consensus is they are very uncomfortable with this whole thing, whatever the hell it is.
I'm just going to say Eve is sitting there kind of grinning, like, this is amazing. I love this.
Basically, what's the big issue? She's a fish lady.
Yeah, it's not like we've never met fish people before.
You'll hear from the Sealies, this is skeeving them out. They're not sure what's going on, but the adhene are wrong. They were their enemies a year ago, and there's also some kind of creepy master-slave thing that might be going on. They're not quite sure.
The turtle
honestly, she was
Valencia kind of
a slave.
squeezes his hand, and she just sort of stares She looks as uncomfortable as any other Seelie in the room.
Eve feels a little bit of an affinity. She has webbed fingers too.
Tanner just stands there next to Eve, being quiet.
She will kind of lean close to his ear and just be like, "I'll explain later what that's about."
Okay.
Richard extends one hand to sort of like an arm going over Valencia's shoulder, but other than that, he doesn't express anything.
Really
She looks over at him.
Xander will look at Eve and like, friend of yours?
Eve sort of smiles at that and is like, maybe in the future.
This is honestly confused by the expressions on the slaves. What's the big deal? This is a fake lady. Yeah, you might be having sex with her, but...
Okay, you just gave Xander flashbacks, so he's like cringing a little.
All the fish women.
But didn't anybody read H.P. Lovecraft when they were growing up?
I think the Slua should be interested in that particular comment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for those who may or may not
Okay.
have been paying attention originally, Tanner was not wearing gloves when he first came in, but after the Queen first spoke, he now has a pair of gloves on.
Okay. All right. After that. Okay, nobody's definitely piping up or anything?
Nah,
Good?
I sense a missive. I don't think that's something to blurt out in front of everyone.
Sounds like a good idea, Mr. Common Sense. Okay, so, at that, she goes, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce to everybody my decision to appoint a regent. Although this is my home kingdom, I will always feel a very, very strong affinity for the Kingdom of Apples, my ancestral grounds. I am but one woman, and though Lord Rathsmere is a very charming man, it's not the way I prefer to administer the kingdom. I feel that this would be best done with me continuing to preside over Concordia, as I have done for the last decade, and I would like to appoint a regent, as I had successfully, and her voice wavers just the slightest. You might be able to tell that this was kind of an emotional thing that happened to her, finding out that Duke Guile betrayed her for 20 years, or after 20 years. I find that I want to appoint another regent. And to that end, I would like to announce to everybody that I could find no better candidate than Morwen Awdry, nee Gwydion. And with no titles or anything else, just a little bit of claps for her supporters, a man comes down in rich robes and jewelry with a procession, strides down there with purpose and quiet English dignity. Anyways, he comes to the throne room, and at that point, Morwen comes out of the crowd. Her face is very hard to read as she sits down, and he presents to her a crown that Duke Guile, actually, in his later years, he was a very conflicted man, had stopped wearing, the crown of Regent, whereupon he places it on her head. So silent. She's taking it all in herself. She stands up. She knows a speech is expected of her.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Thank you, my queen, for this honor that you do me. And you can see that she has a slightly smug look on her face, as is typical of Morwen. And she scans the crowd, meeting eyes with some of you. Hilarious amongst them. I will uphold the position of Regent to the best of my ability, and see that the Kingdom of Apples flourishes under my care. I am so proud that you have invested your trust in me. And at that point, no one's throwing any rotten fruit or anything.
I'm sorry, I forgot it.
We can't.
We ran out during the parliament.
They confiscated mine at the door.
There are
There's
powers that prevent us from doing it.
There's a protocol effect.
Yes, Morwen again. She, as she goes to take a seat, she kind of scans the crowd and she sort of sits down in the regent's chair, which of course is not as good as the royal chair, but it's a nice chair. And she will tip her crown to Valerius.
He'll clap for her.
And as is expected in this, the clap will go around the room because that's what you do in these situations.
Eve was clapping too, and she actually tries to catch Morwen's eye to smile to her.
Oh, and More will definitely acknowledge Eve, as she actually quite likes Eve.
Tanner would offer a slight bow. Not as deep as the one to the queen, but a slight bow nonetheless.
And with this announcement, of course, Queen Mab will take back her the hosting of the festivities, and I shall hand over the headset.
All right, everybody. At that, Duchess Megan is very quick to say that there's going to be a very informal, very large gathering at her freehold, like right now. If there are any Gwydions or any supporters or anything like that that want to come. And curiously enough, nobody can see where Lenore is in all of this right now.
Definitely curious, actually.
She seems to have just disappeared. Actually, if anybody really is looking around, you will see that the adhene couple have disappeared as well. And at that is the close of business, and court is formally adjourned for now. As the queen gets up from her throne and exits. All right, everybody, let the drinking recommence.
Next is being the Gillo slowly collecting all the dirty dirt on everybody.
Eve's gonna look to Val and just be like, "Are you okay?"
He just says don't.
Okay.
And he will go and pay his respects and head to the party.
Oh, okay. If he's actually going to go. Cool. All right. Actually, I'm curious. Who is going to go and help Morwen celebrate? This is going to be strictly on Gwydion property and so forth.
Nix is definitely going to go because he wants to collect dirt on everybody.
Okay.
Charbenton will go.
Okay. Same reason, I assume.
Yeah, that and other things. And any of the Slua group that wants to go along.
In other words, he wants to make sure his new word doesn't embarrass him.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
Richard will ask Valente if she wanted to go.
Sure. I think it'll be interesting.
Dame Valencia would probably know from her experience in these matters that people are going to be treating the Gwydions a little bit better in the next coming months. This was a win for their family.
She'll smile at Richard and offer to allow him to leave.
That Richard will follow Valerius out towards the party.
Okay, cool. And if anybody has anything else to say before we end the scene?
No.
Cool. Okay, this is winding up the Regent plot. We are heading towards the very end of season 2. But this was one of the big decisions. So thank you guys. This was very hard for the STs to decide. We spent an awful long time on it. And anybody that watched, thanks for watching. Have a good night.